Well, welcome in to My Dogs Are Barking on MPW Digital. I'm Landon. I'm joined by Austin. Glad to have Austin back. And on this Monday edition of My Dogs Pod, we were talking about Mississippi State basketball. Mississippi State had the uh, struggle win over South Carolina in overtime on Saturday. We're going to talk about the kind of the preview of Alabama and Mississippi State on Wednesday in Starkville. A very late tip, Austin, 8 p.m. Is the tip off for that game, man. Us old folks, man. I'm not a huge fan, and especially if I end up covering the game, which I won't know until tomorrow or maybe late tonight. But I got to drive from Tuscaloosa to Starkville and then come back. It's a late night, man. It's a late tip. Do you like those, or you prefer Saturdays at noon? But yeah, go ahead.
I like Saturdays at noon. First of all, I got to work on Wednesday night, so I don't know how much of the game I'll be able to catch. So that's very unfortunate. I wish it was tomorrow night, like Tuesday night. That would be perfect. And they've had a lot of games on Tuesday, so it's been perfect. I haven't really missed a whole lot of games. And yeah, I don't really like the Wednesday at 8, especially going to the game for fans that live outside of Starkville, like you were talking about. I mean, that's a late drive. That's a very late night drive, and especially if it's a close game where the last 5 minutes are 45 minutes. So shout out to all the fans that are getting to go.
Yeah, well, and what's kind of weird about Saturdays though is I'm usually, and most people are out doing stuff. So I guess if you're not doing anything on a Saturday watching the games, cool. But usually people are out and about traveling. So I don't know, that Tuesday night is perfect because what's more blah than a Tuesday? I remember before my wife Jordan and I got married, people were saying that a lot of marriage is Tuesdays. I was like, what do you mean it's a Tuesday? It's the chill, nothing really exciting going on. Can you on a Tuesday night sit on the couch and talk and get along and like being with the person? And to a lot of point, that's pretty true. That's what a lot of marriages is Tuesdays. But on a Tuesday, just during the regular part of the week, man, when nothing really is going on, throw in some SEC basketball, and it's like, oh, this is perfect, And it still stinks if you have to drive, but a lot of those games will start at 6, which. I mean, it's going to continue to get lighter outside, so it gets better. But, yeah, so anyway, the Wednesday night at 8 p.m., we're going to cover that preview. We're going to talk briefly about South Carolina. We say this on the show all the time. By the time our show rolls around, you've already taken time to digest the game Saturday. You've heard opinions and thoughts. So we're going to go over it quickly and then kind of lead into what the crux of it is, and that is the game versus Alabama. I think there's a lot of things to talk about here. And look, State's 16-4, on January 27th. They're not in a bad spot at all. So we're going to get into that in just a moment. But first, want to let you know, if you're traveling on Wednesday, do yourself a favor. It's going to be, maybe a little chilly outside. You want a little pick-me-up. You're going to have to need some caffeine to stay awake that long anyway. Lord have mercy, 8 p.m. tip. Jeez, man, it's going to be rough. Keyshawn Murphy's going to be hitting a jumper. It's going to be 9:45 at night. You're going to have to be staying up. Make sure you go by ARPA's. ARPA's coffee bar in the Cotton District. It is such a great place. It's a unique spot. Look, the Cotton District's already hopping anyway, man. Like there's a lot of folks going on, a lot of conversation going on. Might as well go to ARPA's, get you something to eat, and also get some delicious coffee. It's a great spot. Listen, you mentioned that My Dogs, you're a listener of the My Dogs Are Barking podcast. Say, hey, I want the My Dogs Are Barking podcast discount, please. They'll say, you got it, give you 15% off of your order. So that's a good deal, man. Listen or mention that you are a listener of the show. 4 p.m. on Fridays, get any side for free with their burger. Get the fries. Just that's what I would say. But they got a lot of options there. So make sure you check out ARPA's because there's a lot of good places in Starkville. A lot of good places to spend time, to spend money. You want to do it at a place that is going to give you good service and also, more importantly, like give you something delicious. And ARPA's is a place to go. But take advantage of being a My Dogs Barking listener. And we're linking on up to this next part of the year. We're approaching the first part of the month. That's when a lot of the NIL checks get cashed, kind of these monthly increments. And the first is coming up. The rent's due, and so is the NIL check. These guys are here trying to get rich. But hey, ask yourself, what does it mean to be rich? Maybe it's less about reaching a magic number and more about discovering the magic in life. Skip Langley is your Batesville, Mississippi Edward Jones advisor, serving clients in the area and across the state. Count on him for financial strategies that can help support a life you love, because the key to being rich is knowing what counts. So contact him today at 662-563-9843. And together, you can find your rich. Edward Jones, member SIPC. Hey, it's a good time to have a financial advisor, man. The S&P 500 has been looking a little bit better recently, and so it's good to have somebody managing your money you can count on. Austin, this Wednesday, we'll get to a South Carolina game first, and again, very brief, but South Carolina and State. State travels, goes on the road versus South Carolina, who is probably the worst team in the conference, I'd imagine, right? They're 0-7, 10-10 overall. And State has to go to overtime in order to beat South Carolina. And honestly, a game that everybody was off, really outside of Riley Kugel. Kugel had 15 and was very efficient shooting the ball. But offensively, man, another stinker for Josh Hubbard. Claudell Harris 1 for 7 from 3. It was rough. Cam Matthews is really the biggest takeaway of struggling in that game. They got the win, but is there some cause for concern for this Mississippi State team where they are in the season, or is this just kind of lagging along at this point in the season? They got to win on the road.
For the Mississippi State fans, the fan base, they were kind of going crazy on Twitter during this game, and I kind of understand it. Like you said, they're 0-7 in conference play, so I do kind of understand it. But you got to know that every single team, it's going to be hard. There's no giveaways on the road here in the SEC. SEC is the best it's ever been probably this year. And whoever's going to come out as number one, they deserve to be number one because every team is going through an absolute gauntlet. Alabama, I don't know if you saw that screenshot, but Alabama is, every game is insane. And so it's like this for every single team. And, I'm really nervous about our scoring, and I'll talk a little bit more about that during the Alabama preview. But escaping with the win is good. We kind of had control of this game, and then they tied it up really late, and then obviously we went into OT. We should not have had to go into OT. We kind of it was one of those Mississippi State collapses. We saw the collapse on Saturday, so that was rough to watch, especially with Cam Matthews, Mississippi State favorite, Mississippi State legend, having such a bad game, and then Hubbard taking tough shots, and it was an ugly game. It was a really ugly game, especially that second half. The first half, we had control the entire first half. We led the entire first half, so that was good. But yeah, the only thing I can really say is on the road, there's no game that is just a gimme game. Auburn won by I think 1 point, Florida won by I think 3 points at South Carolina. So we won more combined than Alabama and than Florida and Auburn. And so that's crazy to think about because Mississippi State fans aren't happy about this win, but hey, I'll take any win for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it is. It was a rough game. And look, Cam Matthews at this point, he might be exhausted. He's playing 35 plus minutes per game. He played 38 the other night. And also his style of play is not exactly lax. It's not exactly Trae Young, not be physical, shoot up a three. It's all night long being physical and banging around with the guys down low. So it's not it's something that will wear on you over time. And also, in this game, Sean Jones is kind of the unsung hero sometimes, and he had 7 rebounds in this game, but he could not do anything offensively, and he played 26 minutes. That's a long time for him to play. But State shot the ball. They were 23% from 3-point land. Thankfully, South Carolina shot 20% from 3. Again, they're not a great team, not a great 3-point shooting team for sure. But State continues to struggle shooting the 3. And look, they got the win. They're 4-3 in the conference, or 16-4. But Austin, this Wednesday is their game versus Alabama. And I just got to tell you, man, I think this is a terrible matchup for Mississippi State. I think Mississippi State I think they're in a lot of trouble on Wednesday for several reasons. The amount of players who shoot the ball really well for Alabama is numerous. There's so many of them. Now State gets this game in Starkville, but there's going to be a lot of Alabama folks making that drive along with me from Tuscaloosa. How do you think State shakes up in this game versus a team? Alabama is literally the number 4 team in the nation. What's your thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, I agree. And they play like the number 4 team. I was, mentioning that gauntlet. They played very well, up to this point. They got a lot of guys who can really shoot the ball, and that's kind of been our Achilles heel so far. With Nwoko not not being a massive, like, great defender. Keyshawn Murphy's not a great defender. They like to, they like to get as much help in the paint as possible, and that's really cost us because the SEC, I mean, almost every team has locked, like, dead eye shooters, and so that's really cost us in a couple games. And I think it might cost us again this game. They average 90 points. Mississippi State averages 80, and in the past, like, 5 games, I would like to know what we average. It's not very good. So this is going to be a rough matchup, like you said, for the Bulldogs, and yeah, I mean, it's not looking good. I mean, if you can go to the hump, I think we're wearing black, so make sure you wear black. And it's going to be an interesting game. Yeah, I'm with you. I feel like Alabama is set up to win this game.
And in the last game when they beat LSU, like, they didn't even look good. They beat them 80-73. And in that, Mark Sears had 0 points. I mean, how often is he going to give you 0? You know he's going to be motivated. Also, Mark Sears, when he was transferring from the University of Ohio to Alabama, in his top 3 schools was Mississippi State, Alabama, and I can't remember the third team. But ultimately ended up choosing Alabama and has made a lot of cash. But he's going to be ready to shoot the ball. He's going to be very excited to play. I think this combines all the things that State struggles with. If State covering the 3 has been dreadful. Take out the South Carolina game and then go back the previous 4 games. Mississippi State gave up 50% from 3-point range versus Kentucky. They gave up 41% from 3 versus Tennessee. They gave up 30 versus Ole Miss. They gave up 37 against 41 versus Auburn, 37 against Ole Miss, and then 35 versus Tennessee in terms of shooting percentage from 3 for the opposing team. Teams shoot the ball from 3 really, really well against State, and Alabama shoots the ball from 3 well against everybody. I mean, everybody. There's so many people who shoot so efficiently for Alabama. And then on top of that, I don't think that many people have. We've seen a guy down low that they can defend, like having Nelson and having Clifford. I can't pronounce the last name. Amari, the transfer from, I believe, Rutgers. Those guys down low can be a problem. I don't know, man. I feel like in every way State is outmatched and outgunned in this game. And I don't have a good feeling about it. Let's get to predictions though. Again, it's in Starkville. And whenever we close, we're going to go over Mississippi State's quad 1 and quad 2 opportunities that are upcoming, and it's staggering. We're going to go over those numbers here in just a second. But with Mark Sears, Grant Nelson, Aiden Holloway, Liberion Feline, Diabate, like, there's so many names that are talented that score in the double figures for Alabama. How do you think Mississippi State's going to end up doing in this game?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's just a bad overall matchup. I mean, I think, what is on our side is, it's in the hump. It's a home game, and that's a really big advantage in the SEC. And, Mississippi State has done a great job, being a great team at home this year, I feel like.
Yes.
And so, yeah. And so, yeah, I think that's an advantage for us. But matchup wise, I don't really see any good matchup. Maybe 1, maybe 2, but Josh Hubbard's going to have a big game. And we keep saying this, but yeah, give me Alabama. I'm saying they're probably going to win, honestly, by 10 plus. I got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, look, from 3-point range, Aiden Holloway is shooting 41% by himself. Mark Sears is shooting 35% from 3. Chris Youngblood is shooting 30% from 3. Let's see. Filion doesn't shoot the ball as well. He's about 28% from 3. Grant Nelson, who's a big, so not really a traditional guy, but he can go out and shoot a 3. He shoots 27% from 3. And we saw versus Tennessee, there were guys who'd never shot 3s before they were hitting him. So I think, and also though, if Alabama wins this game, I can just see it, people losing their mind, and we got blown out at home, and we're no good, and all these things. Alabama might be a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, just like Tennessee, just like Auburn. Like, all these, they have potential for that. And so I know they look rough versus South Carolina, but State you just kind of need to get through this game. It's kind of a free shot. You win this game, and if State was to end up winning this game, it would, I believe, solidify them as a top 5 seed in the NCAA tournament. Not top 5 overall, but being a 4 seed or 5 seed, something like that. Because that would just be such a huge win on your resume to go along with some of your others. But I'm taking Alabama in this game. Yeah, but 10 plus. I don't know the exact amount, but I'm with you. I think there's just too many different guys to guard, and there's too many guys that can go off and have a big night for Mississippi State to win this game. But man, I would be pleasantly surprised. Has Chris Jans beaten Nate Oates?
I don't think so. I'm almost certain that he hasn't. I don't remember it. I feel like we would remember it.
I don't think he has. I think so. I mean, at that point, he's been there at Alabama for 4 years or so. So yeah, he's got to be like 8-0 over State at this point. And State goes to Tuscaloosa in February for it. But I mean, it's tough to win in Coleman Coliseum and get the win. Yeah. So I'm with you there. We're going to take a quick break, and then here's what I'd love to look at. Let's look at Mississippi State's full picture. We're going to look at the net rankings for Mississippi State. We're going to pull it up on the screen for the upcoming Quad 1 opportunities. And get this, Austin. Among the upcoming games, including the one versus Alabama, Mississippi State has 8 straight Quad 1 games coming up. 8 straight. Then there's 2 that are Quad 2, and then 1 more Quad 1 win to end the season. We're going to go through all those. I'll give you a preview here in just a moment. But first, we're going to take a quick break and let Neil tell us about a quick ad.
All MPW digital podcasts are brought to you by our friends at Parish Brewing Company, located in the heart of Cajun country in Broussard, Louisiana. Parish Brewing Company's simple goal is to make awesome craft brewed beer, and they do it remarkably well. The doctor is introducing their new go-to IPA, Dr. Juice. It's a highly crushable juice bomb, dry hopped with a blend of their favorite hand-selected hops from the Yakima Valley in Washington. Dr. Juice's drinkability is sneaky good, considering it clocks in at 6% ABV. The pour glows a rich cantaloupe hue with a thick frosted haze, soft mouthfeel, an aroma and taste that's full of passion fruit, papaya, and blood orange, making it drink like a glass of freshly squeezed juice. They also have Ghost in the Machine. It's a double IPA brewed with obscene quantities of hand-selected Citra hops from Yakima Valley. Expect pungent grapefruit flavors and aromas, tropical fruit, less harsh bitterness than most IPAs. Again, it's Parish Brewing Company. Wherever you get your beer, check out Parish. Make sure that you look for them, because any beer that you get from Parish is going to be absolutely outstanding. Thank you from MPW Digital.
So Mississippi State, among their upcoming games, I'm going to pull it up on the screen now, so you can kind of see along with us. Going to share the screen. The amount of games that they have coming up versus Quad 1 opponents is just incredible. So for Mississippi State, they have got Alabama at home. Then they have Missouri here at home. Then they go on the road at Georgia. Georgia could slip into a Quad 2 possibly, but as of right now, it's a Quad 1 win. They get Florida, who's a really good team, at home. On the road versus Ole Miss. Home versus A&M, who just let a big one slip, versus Texas. On the road versus Oklahoma. Again, I think that might end up going into a Quad 2. At Alabama, home versus LSU, home versus Texas, and then on the road versus Arkansas. The amount of games that are coming up for State is incredible. 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8 Quad 1 games. How many of these, Austin, do you think, if they were to, how many of these, I guess, would you be pleased with if they got out of the next 8?
Ooh, next 8. I mean, I might have this. Ooh, that's tough. Maybe 4. I mean, 4, maybe. I think 5 would be great. Like I said, like I was talking about, there's no gimme games in the SEC. Not one of these teams are like, we're for sure going to win this game. There's some teams that aren't as strong, like Oklahoma, but I don't know. It's tough. I would say if we got 5 out of the 8, I would be amazed. If we got 4 out of 8, I would be happy with it. It's just an absolute gauntlet every single SEC team is going through. And honestly, I'm really excited for these next games. I'm really, really excited. I mean, it's a great time to be an SEC basketball fan. And then we got the SEC tournament, and then we got the bracket. This is going to be amazing. But
yeah, it's the best time to be alive, man, for sure. Well, and out of the 8 that are here, if they won 5 out of 8, I'd be blown away. Honestly, you start going through this number. I don't think they're beating Alabama. I think Missouri's a winnable game, and it's at home. I think they'll get that win, but I wouldn't be shocked. Georgia's very winnable. The game versus Florida at home. I mean, you're at home, so you got a shot, but I don't think they win that game. I think Florida's a really good team. On the road versus Ole Miss is they are going to be so fired up to get a win. I don't know if State wins that one, and they usually split anyway. Home versus A&M is winnable, but State's messed that one up for several years. On the road at Oklahoma, you never know how you're going to play on the road, but Oklahoma is a very beatable team. In Tuscaloosa, no thanks. LSU's a winnable game, and honestly, they should win that one. Texas at home is a winnable game, but you don't want to fumble that because they got a big one versus A&M the other night, and then on the road versus Arkansas. Arkansas is not a good team, but it's on the road, and Calipari's got some sort of magic versus Mississippi State. So I don't know. As you're coming through here and look up in the top left corner there, the quad 1 wins. They're 4-3 in quad 1 wins. And they're 4-1 in quad 2. That Butler loss looks worse and worse, unfortunately. You do not want them to slip into the quad 3 range, and they are going to if they continue to lose. But yeah, you really wish you could have won that game because then you would look great. Now McNeese State is actually going to be a better game for you, getting the win versus them. They are moving up, and then the win versus Pittsburgh was always a good game. So yeah, it's interesting where State is. I think if they could upset either Florida or Alabama along the way, that would be great. But as it looks like right now, I don't know why I keep kind of penciling them in as a 6 seed or a 7 seed. I think you're honestly. I think you want to avoid 8-9 matchup. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, for sure. No, I would take a 6 seed any day of the week, and whatever games helps us get it. The games that we're favored to win, we need to win because those games against Alabama and those other teams that are just unbelievable, Florida, those are going to be very tough to win, and we're not going to be favored to win. I'll tell you right now. So every game that we're favored in to win, we need to come out with the victory. And especially, if we can get 1 or 2 on the road, that would be awesome. Especially like if we got the Ole Miss win, that would do a lot. That would do a lot because, Florida, Alabama, it's not looking very likely for a win. So it's I'm really excited for these next 8 games. It's gonna be must-see TV if you're a Mississippi State fan.
I agree, man. It's gonna be so fun. And again, we will come back on Thursday and talk about what happened with Alabama and Mississippi State and kind of the matchup and the way that looked. And then Thursday we'll go over that. And then also we will preview Mississippi State. And who does State have on Saturday? I just looked at it. Missouri. Yeah.
Missouri, yeah.
They got Missouri at noon. So we'll talk about that. Then we'll also, for all the wrestling nerds out there, we'll also talk about the Royal Rumble. We'll make our Royal Rumble picks because why not, man? We might even see if we can get. We need to find a guest who's been in the Royal Rumble. I don't really, we had Glenn Jacobs and got to interview him, but he's probably busy being the mayor, so I don't think he wants to holler at us. Who's another guy? Who's a guy you would want to, for a Royal Rumble interview? Someone who's been in one.
Ooh. I don't know. That's tough to see. That's really cool. I love listening to Maven, his YouTube channel. I've been on a Maven kick, the past week. I've watched so many of his videos. If we could somehow get him on, but yeah, really, I would take anybody. I would take Santino Morella. I would take anybody who's been in the Rumble. That would be awesome.
That's right. Hey, listen, I tell you what, if you are a listener of this show and you have made it this far and you're a wrestling fan, so that's the trifecta. If you made it this far in the show, if you're a wrestling fan, I forgot the third thing I was saying. But anyway, if you made it this far and you have a suggestion for who you'd like to hear that's been in a Royal Rumble in the WWE before, let us know. Comment or shoot us a tweet at MyDawgsPod. And we will very much consider reaching out to that person. Because again, if you're this far into it and you're a wrestling fan, you're dedicated. So we'll talk about that on Thursday. But yeah, this matchup in Starkville is going to be huge. Get some ARPAs, get some coffee, and enjoy yourselves. Man, it's going to be a very good time, man. So looking forward to that. Austin, any closing remarks, my man?
Now subscribe to MPW Digital. I think we're at 11,000 or very close to it. So guys, keep keep showing the support. We love it, guys. Thank y'all so much for listening to all this. So we really appreciate us talking and just rambling on about Mississippi State basketball, Mississippi State football, and we appreciate you for letting us listen, letting us, I lost my words.
We appreciate you for listening to us.
Thank you. There you go. I like it.
Listening and watching along. So, man, it's a good time of the year. We're gonna do some fun stuff when it comes to March and the tournament. We'll see about having a bracket and see about having some sort of kind of fun giveaway for the winner. But we will also be entering in the bracket too, so we're not excluded from winning the prize. I'm just throwing that out there. So, and my wife as well. She's gonna be in the tournament. Austin, we'll get your young lady in the bracket as well. Girls, for whatever reason, though, they take the they have some objectivity on, like, they don't have any emotion into it. They're not like, well, I had this favorite player. They're like, I like Ducks. The Oregon Ducks could do well versus whatever it is. And sometimes you got to steer them back on the path. Like, whenever Jordan makes a bracket, you got to kind of steer her back to, well, no, UConn's probably not going to lose to Southwestern Missouri State, but yeah, it's gonna be a fun time of the year, man. So, all right, well, we sure do appreciate you guys so much for listening to My Dogs Are Barking on MPW Digital. We'll catch you back on Thursday. See you then.